Diamante.
Durante with a free header.
And the honour of Western United's first A-League goal goes to a familiar face. Bessart Barisha.
It's Connor Payne on the left.
Alessandro Diamante, the ball on a string. And
Diamante!
The Western service crew are celebrating.
Welcome back to All Out West, and what a big show we have for you this week with 3 game reviews and a preview. Now, this week you're joined by Kelsey and Jay, aka the Magic Man, which I didn't see that nickname coming up, but I enjoy it. What's the origins of that name, sir?
That's just my PSN. Because, bro, when I played COD, people thought I was hacking, but it was just magic. But I'm not good at COD anymore. So
that's cool. I thought it was a Step Brothers reference, but I'll take it.
No, you're wrong. You're thinking of Talladega Nights.
Oh,
Magic Man and El Diablo. I know my comedies.
Yeah, they're like the 2 best Will Ferrell comedies ever.
Well, John C. Reilly is in that one as well, so
yeah, that Sherlock Holmes I did piss weak.
No.
But sorry,
Talladega Nights top 5 comedies of all time. But we'll get into that in the comedy podcast that we do.
Yeah, that's coming up next at All That Comedy. All That Sketch. Yeah, I guess we should talk about the club with a bit of a club update. And Kelsey, how you going today, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad. I guess you could tell I'm very level with all the draws I've been witnessing lately.
The true origins of the word too. Yeah, I like that. So the rest of our fixture was released last week, which we would have covered on last week's pod, but I had man flu and was pretty knocked out. Thankfully it wasn't COVID. But yeah, here we are to do a bit of a catch-up. So Saturday, April 9th, we take on Wellington Phoenix, and this is a really big one. It's the first A-League game to take place at Moorshead Park, which is such a wonderful facility. And that's on Saturday at 2:05 p.m., which is, I think, a pretty good time slot for Ballarat because it gets cold there, which we all know from the weekend, except you, Jay. Which I believe, happy birthday for last week, kind sir. Sorry I couldn't make the pub.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thanks, fellas. No, it was all good. I just pulled up a bit rough Saturday, and I actually needed to sleep in for once. I slept right until the game started. So, and I was in bed early. I slept about 12, 13 hours. I think I was just a bit run down actually myself. So don't worry, I'll be at Moorshead this weekend. I'm not missing that one. I've actually, back to that, I've been to a Moorshead game before for one of our first ever friendlies. Very a small, intimate ground where you can still get a couple thousand in there for sure if we really want to pack it. I don't think we'll be getting that, but it's going to be fun. It's really going to be fun. It feels like it's going to feel almost more like an NPL game, like you're on top of the action. I'm very keen, and I encourage anyone that can get down to get down because it's going to be an A-League experience like you've never seen.
Definitely. That preseason game was amazing because you're pretty much an arm's length away from the action. It's unheard of in the A-League, really.
Well, it's an actual football pitch.
Yeah, again, that's in my preamble for the preview, but it's an actual rectangular game, stadium that we can lay claim to. That's a nice little change, isn't it? Yeah, I'll move on to the rest of our fixtures. Saturday, April 16th and Tuesday, April 19th, we're heading to UTAS Stadium in Tasmania for that part of our fixturing with versing Perth Glory and Macarthur FC respectively, both at the 5:05 time slot. I believe a few people will be headed down, but there are a lot of locals involved, that went to the previous Perth game there. So interested to see what happens when the two mingle and get some nice game day action going. Any comments, guys?
I'll be heading down. So if you're a Tassie local who wants to get in touch with the crew, get in touch with the pod. We'll be organising pre-game pubs. Mainly for the Saturday game. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make the midweeker. But I think we can make that Saturday something really special. So if anyone wants to get in contact with us that listens in Tassie, just message the pod and we'll organise something.
Yes, I believe there is something being organised for the Active to have a conversation with the Tassie supporters soon as well, which Jay, it's in the group chat. I'm not sure if you're in that group chat.
On top of that. I did see that as well. Sorry, I forgot. And that's my fault. But I will also
Killing me,
I'll sort that
Jay.
out. So, I will be down there. I'm still trying to figure out accommodation. If anyone can put me up on their couch for a night, that'd be nice.
Help your local service crew. But then our final 3 games of the season are all away. We take on Central Coast Mariners on April 30th at CCM Stadium. Then we take on Newcastle Jets at McDonald Jones Stadium on Wednesday, May 4th. And Sunday, May 8th, we play Adelaide United at Coopers Stadium. So we've got a bit of a run home to try and collect some points here. Do you guys think we're pretty much playing 5 games away? Do you think that's going to come back to bite us, especially in the short turnaround time?
Maybe in context of the Premier's play, but so far as making finals, we're home and host. No, there's no way that there's teams out of the top 6 that are going to be scoring more than what are we on 40 points?
Yeah, we're 3 points below City, which I think we're on 37. I will double check it.
And then I think we have a gap over third as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid gap.
No one out of look. There's no way we're not making finals. So home final is something we've got to push for. So we've got to finish first, second, or third for sure. That's which I'm honestly not sure about. First, I don't think we will. I think City are looking strong, especially after they annihilated Wellington. But it's still not out of the realm of possibility. And I think a second place finish would be optimal just for that home semi-final. So definitely still need to pick up points. I'd want at least probably 8 points from the rest of the season. I reckon we'll clinch that, but we'll see how we go. Hopefully Moore's Head puts us on the way this weekend.
Just to put a bit of context there for the ladder, we are currently sitting in second place on 38 points, with Melbourne City at 43, MacArthur sitting on 29 points. We are 2 games in front of Melbourne Victory, who are on 28 points, and then the rest of the 6 don't really. Sydney and Adelaide, I don't see catching us.
No. The other thing too is, look, going back to your original question, I don't think we generally play well in Tassie. Moore's Head's a bit of an unknown and Wellington we tend to struggle with. But if I see any issues, it's probably those 2 or final 3 games.
Yeah.
I am worried about Wellington because we haven't beaten them.
That's
since
why
I said game.
I see a bit of a banana skin, that one.
However, they're on a skid. Who knows if they'll recover or not? That could be a boot up the bum from last week. And we've sort of just been – the problem is we haven't had a real resounding loss since
Sydney.
And then it's not like we've bounced back, but we haven't been poor, but we just haven't been picking up points like we should. So it's like I see us losing definitely one of these games, and hopefully that starts a fire. But I think the finals is all but secure for us. But I'd still like to build up a head of steam going into the finals, not go into the finals on the back of a couple of losses and bomb straight out.
Yeah.
Look, I could be wrong, but I would be curious to see if maybe we're struggling a little bit because maybe we're doing a heavy training load getting ready for that final run as well, so we peak at the right time. I could be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's also happening with the kind of personnel we see is.
Yeah.
Also worth mentioning, we have had, Payne injured, Risdon injured, Kilkenny out. Still no Diamante. He was in the stands on the weekend. We're not going too crash hot on the injury front, whereas City have got all their boys back now. Sydney are looking very strong with their personnel. Same with Victory. But I think hopefully if we can get Diamante, back by come around finals, I think we'll be okay. Neil's back as well. Obviously, we'll get into his game on the weekend, but he's got to build a little bit of fitness back up. You can't just be expected to. Well, he was thrown right back into it this weekend, but I think he'll gradually get better and better again as the season goes on.
Well, is that a good segue to go into next? Speaking of
That's
injuries,
amazing, actually. Let's speak about an injury update. The club issued this just before the game on Saturday, so some things may have changed. But Josh Risson sustained a right syndesmosis. Thank you, buddy. How about you just cover this section if you got it up?
All right, cool. So Joshua Risson sustained a right syndesmosis ankle injury against Melbourne Victory on Wednesday, 23 March. The injury will require surgical intervention. I believe it was done last week, according to the update. They expect him to miss around 7 weeks for surgery. So I'm guessing it's not a really bad one because you can usually miss 10 to 12 weeks with a syndesmosis, depending on how bad it is. So hopefully it's on the lighter side and he will be back in the 7 weeks. Diamante's been managing an injury to his right knee. He continues to work aggressively with his rehab, but his return date is indefinite pending the symptoms of the knee injury. They didn't really go into what was wrong with the knee, though, have they?
No. I thought it was more of an ankle injury earlier in the year when he went down, but he's getting older. He does need that extra time, and I think that'd be just be saving him for finals. Like, in reality, we should be able to cruise through to a top six position with a home final. So I think they're like, we'll save Diamante.
Get him cherry right.
If I was Aloisi, I'd be saying, Dima, just practice your penalties, mate. Practice your penalties and your free kicks because he's a player that I would love to have come on late. He's a game changer, but I don't see him starting a single game for the rest of the season, even if we do make a grand final.
Interesting. We've been working really well with Lil Sticker and Kilkenny in there, and how Renee works in it's. I don't like Wales in that like creative kind of role, but we haven't been terrible with it.
Well, we'll get into Wales because he's been up and down all season. Obviously, he's polled votes. I know for a fact in the last few games, but it is an up and down season once again. We've sort of lost that
around in position. Like, I think part of his problem is he's been kind of a bit of a utility man.
Yeah, he's missing that continuity of being in one role, doing one thing.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll just go on to – sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, continue. Otherwise, I'll just start spoiling.
Yeah, no, I was just going to get into the last injury. So Seb Pasquale, who's obviously been out all season, continues to work his way through his rehab plan. He's returning from pelvic surgery. The club's medical team continuing to work closely with him, and hopefully he can return in the next couple of weeks. They're hoping.
Yeah, I think that'd be a big in for us, especially in midfield. I'm keen on this. Side note, I did see him at the Melbourne Victory game. He was outside when we were heading in, I believe. Kelsey?
Yes, he was. I was with you.
Yeah. Lev and I bumped into him as well separately.
Yeah, so he was out front. So hopefully he could be our missing link in the midfield, being honest. What do you guys think?
Not even missing link. I reckon he could just be like a catalyst for a goal. You sub him on and he could create something, but it's also worth mentioning how fit will he be once he returns? Is this return from injury or is this return from injury at partial fitness, full fitness? We won't know until we see him. So
this is surgery.
Given that it's a pelvic injury, I would say they'll have to wait to return to full fitness because the issues, because it will obviously affect his running power, his ability to kick, his ability to do pretty much his entire role. So I would say they're going to have to wait for his full return. But I suspect if he does come back, he's definitely coming on as subs. I wouldn't think he'd be starting any games for the rest of the season.
But he would have been handy to have.
I agree.
Sorry.
I don't see him coming back this year. And maybe next season. And I think, it sucks, but it's probably his last crack. If he gets injured again, I wouldn't be surprised if the club releases him. Like, we had nothing against Seb, but it's like, we have helped him out a lot, and there's only so much he can do at a point. I pray and I really hope, both fingers crossed, that he doesn't get injured again, because I really like the bloke as a footballer, as an actual person. He's always so nice, willing to stop and have a chat. But it's like he's been with us since the start, and we've barely seen him play. there's got to be a point where you got to cut your losses, and this is from a financial standpoint, a club standpoint. You got to free up room to bring in other players that can play. So good luck to Seb. Let's hope he can come back next season, which I think is the last season on his contract. From memory, it might be this season, but I hope we at least give him one more chance.
And the thing is, he could always get a bit of fitness up over the NPL season as well, because he still qualifies for that. So he could get really pumped up, because Thea Harris is spending a bit of time down there. Skatardis is getting a good leg in as well. Bayu, it's a good competitive environment to get minutes in the legs.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to get on to the game? Oh, Kels, you got anything else?
No, I was about to say the exact same thing.
What was I going to say, Kelsey?
You were going to say, do you want to get into the game review versus victory?
Yes. Now, on Wednesday, 23rd of March, Western United took on a near full-strength victory at Amy Park in front of 5,022 people, which I think was a pretty good turnout, which close to what I said on the day, Kelsey. From the get-go, both teams wanted it, and they dug deep. In what was a game-changing moment, Wales lobbed a cross which deflected off Payne's head and found its way to our number 44's head and to the back of the net. What a beauty. And talk about a great goal celebration in honour of Warney. What were your thoughts, Jay?
I actually had a perfect view of this because I was watching it from on the TV waiting to buy a beer. And because there's a slight delay, I heard all of our fans celebrating. I've gone, oh, no way, seen it go in, rushed, out there and celebrated quickly. Not the most technically perfect goal you'll ever seen, but it's a grubby, dirty goal, and it's the sort of goals we need. From a crossing, we sort of been struggling for a while with our crosses and, making those half chances happen in the box. We didn't really deserve the lead. I think no one did at that point. It was a pretty even game, but we took it, and I was pretty happy. Obviously, pretty happy to go up 1-0 against Victory at that point in the game.
Yeah, it was like you said. It was probably a bit unfair for us to go up, given the game no one was really dominating at that point. But we had a chance and we took it, and that's what we've got to do at this stage of the season. We're going to try and get the goals where we can get them and try and get the points in the bag. I just like how you could see clearly across after he scored, he was in two minds about how to do the celebration. I enjoyed that mental process, but I thought it was good too. It was touching, though. I don't know you alluded it was a celebration to Warney, but I don't know why he went for a fast delivery when Warney was a spinner.
It was a nice sentiment. It was a nice sentiment.
No, it was. I'm just, that's what I mean. I think he got a bit confused with how he wanted to do it. I think he was a bit shocked he actually scored.
Yeah, I'd say caught up in the moment, he's decided to go pace.
Well, he was running full bolt. That's the best time to do pace. You don't want to be doing a spin at full bolt. Yeah,
exactly.
Cricket. The gentleman's game. I don't know anything about cricket. Sorry, it almost escaped me then. When asked about Topor-Stanley's goal, Aloisi commented that they've been working on a lot of set pieces during the season. And this was kind of a real big part of what they wanted to improve on since the start of the season, since we not only conceded from set pieces, but we also hadn't scored any. And we've noticed a real change to how our set pieces are done. Do you think Garuccio coming in to do those has really improved that? Because in the past we had predominantly done either Kilkenny this season or Diamanti for the last two. What do you guys think?
Right, I'll go. I think Garuccio has been a real crucial key in helping change it up. I've noticed that teams are a bit more uncertain when we go to take it as to who will take the free kicks when they're standing on it. I noticed, for example, on the weekend, most freshmen will talk about it a bit more. It was Kilkenny and Garuccio both standing. They weren't sure which one would take it. At least I think it's giving us a bit more of a dynamic and a bit more uncertainty, which is a good thing. We're certain on what we're going to do, but it's creating uncertainty for other teams.
I think Garuccio's been whipping in some cracking balls. He's been our best pickup in the off-season, personally, in my opinion, and that's a hard call because we've had a lot of good players. Obviously, Leo, Prijovic, Topor-Stanley, Young, but they've all sort of been plucked from
Kilkenny.
nowhere. Kilkenny, but to grab Benny and off your rivals, off the crosstown club, because he was never going to get a game there, and then turn him into a, he was always solid defensively, and now he's putting in tremendous balls week in, week out. He's got a killer peg. I think he takes the left side or the left side corners. Sorry, so he takes the in swinging left. It's an easy solve for me. You have Neil on one side, Garuccio on the other, because those in swingers from Garuccio are tremendous every time. Leo had not scored for years, and he scored 2 in 2 from Benny Garuccio crosses, or 2 in 1 game. Sorry, it's a no-brainer for me. You got to keep Benny taking those corners. And you can, like we all said, you go back to a podcast earlier this year, we said, we lost against Victory because we fell asleep at a set piece and we didn't score. We hadn't scored from a set piece. Now it's almost flipped. We're getting countered, and that's how they're scoring. And we're holding the ball up, not getting possession, streaming forward, earning a corner, and then scoring from that corner. So it's like sort of a double whammy. We've got the ability to counter and also the ability to score from set pieces, which I think that's fantastic. 2 fantastic tools to have in the back pocket, especially when you need a press late game. You don't have to worry about the other team attacking you for you to be able to pinch the ball and score. And obviously you got players like Leo and Prijovic, the big boys that really help with that, which we were missing, and Nikolai Topor-Stanley, they tower over Tomoki Amai, who was one of our bigger players last season. It's really night and day. We've had a lot of good pickups. And, I actually did say I'm actually wondering whether or not I'm right about Benny Garuccio, because it's like sort of I think he's an important player, but we've signed a lot of important players and they're all doing very well. So I might have to backtrack a little bit on that, but off the top of my head, I think, he'd be one of the most important signings we've made.
I would like to say, you go, Kelsey.
Sorry, I'll put it this way: I don't think we've made a single poor signing from this off season prior to this season.
No,
I think they've all been, signings that have needed to be made in most spots for the starters. I noticed you just sort of nodding your head. Who am I missing off the top of my head that's been terrible?
I think Rene Krhin, although he's had his issues and whatnot, is probably, if you had to be overtly negative, has probably been the underperformer of the group. I hate to do that, but I feel like it's this, like when you say for me, that's been probably the hardest. And he's scored a goal for us. He's played well in his few games.
I found one, Bodic.
Well, the thing is,
featured.
But the thing is,
there's been a reason for that.
Yeah, but he's a youth player, though. He's been playing. He's like.
I'm just saying, if you have to be critical.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think he's more of a future prospect. Like Dillman's a haul in 2 years. That's kind of how I see him.
My overall point was the overall quality that incomings has been positive. It's been excellent.
Yeah, I'd have to say with Rene Krhin, I agree with Wallace, but he also did have personal things going on.
Oh, that's
it's. I'm not saying I'm not saying that you're ripping into him for that.
Yeah, no.
Like, he had a late start to the season, didn't get a full preseason. He also, I think he believed he was playing alongside Diamante as well, which also drew him to the club. And he's not played a single second alongside Dimmer. That could be a revelation in itself, having those two in the midfield, One, Diamante pushing forward, Krhin holding back a little and playing, positive balls towards each other. Rene Krhin, I agree. I won't say most disappointing because I'm not disappointed in him yet.
Oh, that's what I mean.
Yet.
I wasn't
I'd say
saying
he's
he
the-
was terrible. I'm just saying if we had to rank them, he wouldn't be in my top 5. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like it's not to negate him.
Yeah, if I'm ranking 1 to 10, I'm giving him a 6.5, and that's the lowest out of our signings.
100%.
Yeah.
When you've had like people like Leo Lacroix, it's hard to be like.
Even when you have
should we-
players like Lustica's reinvented himself again this year.
Oh.
So
Should we get back to the actual game review?
No,
yeah,
that's not what we're here for.
Podcast, yeah.
But we're just enjoying having a good combo. Now, when Risdon went down, Skatardis was brought in to shore up the midfield with Amai moving to right back, with Crin taking the centre back role, which he'd done before but not recently. How well do you think this worked?
I thought Amai was great at right back. I believe I gave him votes in this game. I actually think, considering he got thrown in there and Skatardis as well, I think they both did their job as well as they could have, because obviously you wouldn't have been planning to make a substitution that early, and especially probably one thing about subbing Joshy Risdon, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a big thing. But also to take note, we only had one other defensive player on the bench that day, and that was Collins, who was a younger, and not to negate him, he's just a younger, inexperienced player at A-League level. So I understand why Aloisi made this move by putting Old Mate in the same. He know he's had experience. Yeah.
You weren't going to throw Collins to Nolan Victory's attack, that's for sure. That would not have been a fun debut for him.
Didn't we move Tomoki into that right back position that day as well?
That's what we were literally just talking about and how well he did.
Sorry, yeah. No, like, because for 2 seconds I thought that we would put Skatardis directly in a right back. No. That's my bad. Because I was just thinking, like, usually Risdon off for Skatardis on would be like alarm bells ringing for me.
100%.
But he did very well. And I've been critical of Skatardis before. I still don't think he's a best 11 player. I think he's a squad rotation player. But I was very, very impressed. Had we won that game, even more so. But like the draw, conceding the goal wasn't really on him. It was like it's just a team lapse. You can't really. I don't think you can pin it on any one player. We'll get into that, I suppose. But I'm glad to see that we've persisted with him, because I know a lot of people weren't happy with his performances, but that one was a good one. I will pay that.
Yeah, he probably had his best his best game for us that day, to be honest.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is the game where Crin went to centre back as well, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why we lost a lot of creativity out of him, because he doesn't have the expression to move forward like he would in other games. And he's not a proven goal scorer. He's a ball-playing midfielder. I think at least we did have that coverage on that day.
Special shout-out, though, to Crin for doing such a job at centre-back, considering he's not a known centre-back at all. Like, he did well.
He did. He has done it in the past, but not the majority of his career.
But he's not a known centre-back, is my point.
It's on his CV.
We leaked shots all day.
Yeah.
But, like, we didn't lose, so we can't, like, flog. I mean, that goes down to all the boys up the back, but, like, we didn't lose. It was, let's be real, 3 points to Young for everyone. I think it was for that game. I think it was, I don't know if you got the stats for this game, because we'll just move through it, I reckon.
I think he's about to get to the stats. I believe it's the next point on the run sheet.
I've got some fun ones. We're going to try and keep it moving.
Young stats for that game, yeah.
Ooh, it's lucky Scott's not here. Scott would be loving this. But interesting statistic on just Jamie Young alone. He made 11 saves, which is one below the record for the A-League for most in a game. The record is currently held by Oliver Sale in Welly versus Glory on the 28th of the 4th, 2019, since record keeping started. Jamie Young single-handedly kept us in this game, and I'm not negating other players on the team. We made the best of a bad situation. A starting 11 player went down with a season-ending injury to some degree. Like, I don't see Risdon again this season, which what a great utility player. Like, he's played really well the last couple of games.
Yeah, but going back to Young, he really was the last line of defence for us in that game. He stopped everything. And even the goal, like, yeah, it went in, but he was at it. It just managed to squeeze its way in.
Yeah.
Like, you faced what? So he saved 11, one went in, so it's 11 out of 12. One to go over the line was really, like, well done to him.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on this game?
No, look,
would have been nice.
No,
for
you
a
go,
win,
Jake.
But sorry to cut you off, mate. It would have been nice for a win, but ultimately, at least we didn't go 0-3 against Victory this season. I'll take that. Could have been much worse, if it weren't for Young, but obviously could have been much better if we kept Risdon on. It was a real all right. We'll take that push forward game.
My final thought is, given we had a patch quilt defence, we did really well considering, and I think it's reflected in the votes as well.
Yep. Which, speaking of quotes, I'll get into them. Now, Kelsey...
Speaking of quotes, how much are you charging for this?
I had lunch beers today. Get off my case. Now, Kelsey, Leb, Jay, and myself voted the exact same, which is pretty much a first. I'm not surprised Scott went in a different direction, but we voted all of us 3 to Young, 2 to NTS, 1 to MI. Scott, from a moral standpoint, did 3 to NTS, 2 to Crin, 1 to Lastica.
And just going on Scott's vote, so the Crin one, he was probably my fourth. It was probably going to be. I'm glad he got a vote because it means all the defenders actually got essentially a vote.
Yeah, it was a good defensive game. And yeah, they had a big day. Like, they earned an ice bath after that. You know what I mean? Like, for a bit of a warm down. We won't talk about where we're standing at Player of the Year competition yet. We might just move on to the next game. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm good with that. Jay's missing, but I'm covering it anyway.
Cool. Thanks. Great work there, Kelsey.
Cool. So, West United made, MAID, bit confused, the trip to up north to take on the Royal Dolphin Stadium on the 26th of March in front of 4,935 people. We essentially took on a 10-man squad in what was a war of attrition. Let's start things off with the red card. Raw's Jordan Holmes for his tackle of Lachie Wales. What are your thoughts, Wallace?
I'd like to start things off with war of attrition, banging dying fetus track. Actually, I will take that red card any day of the week, but I would have been gutted if it wasn't us. It's one of those things where there was contact there and there was more than enough players ahead of Lachie Wales for him to have, like, I don't think he could have done anything dangerous with it. Like, when there's at least 2 other defenders forward. It was careless.
It was a keeper outside the box from memory, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, that's why he got it. Basically, if a keeper touches anyone outside the box, they're essentially digging themselves a hole.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like, in the sense of where it was and the fact it wasn't necessary. It's like, if that was yours, like a midfielder doing defensive, like taking down a dude just so you don't have to deal with an attack. But Lachie Wales by himself, 2 other defenders, minimum from memory, it just seemed unnecessary.
Yeah, it was a bit of a rush of blood, I think.
Yeah.
And then, so the red card was followed by a goal almost 1 minute deep by Juan Eduardo Lascano.
Lascano.
Oh, it's a L. Okay, sorry, I misread that.
I wrote this on a train, and I love that you have to read this. And just like MF Doom, remember to spell his name with all caps, yo. When you spell the man's name. Yeah, I was listening to MF Doom on the way home today.
Yeah, so basically, what was your feeling when this happened so early?
My heart dropped because we had that recent... this wasn't far away from that Sydney game where we just got pummeled. Although we did really well against Victory midweek, I was really worried fatigue was going to catch up with us. So I was like, my heart sunk, and I'm like, oh crap, is this going to be another, like, are we going to repeat that behavior? Which, yeah, it was a bit daunting, and yeah, I was a bit worried. But then the red card happened. I really wrote this out of order. It's a bit like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, isn't it?
Yeah, you've really thrown me out here.
Yeah,
Right,
you
that's
picked a
okay. I
terrible
can
one to
roll with
read,
it.
buddy.
The
That's
difference
okay.
between this and an M. Night Shyamalan movie is I'm enjoying this.
Really?
Yeah, I truly am.
Signs was a banger, man.
Signs was good, but like, let's not forget what he did to the Last Airbender. Actually, can we not
Not
talk
to-
about this? I might cry on the pod.
But that was
Just
budget
quickly-
constraint.
Just quickly, also, I had to ad-lib this because you wrote 26th of match. Just putting
Dude,
that out there.
I was like jamming to some MF Doom. I can't help that.
No, all
Just-
good. So, Jay, I'll throw this one to you because Wallace has fielded the last two. So I've already recapped the goal and the red card. Now we'll cap West United's first goal. So Addison Bayou scored his first A-League goal for the club, and he was one of the shining lights in this game. What are your thoughts on his performance?
On his performance, not gonna lie, I was watching the game during a birthday party, so I was like in and out. So for his whole performance, I did see little glimpses, and it was very positive. I was very happy with it. But the finish from the corner is not something we've seen from him. It was a great header, like something you'd see in the Championship or the Premier League. I was rapt with that finish. Like when we scored, like I did see it live, and I thought, oh, what a great finish! And then I saw it was Bayou, and I was almost like taken aback. I was like, man, if he's got that in his locker, he could be really turned into a complete player. So, not a knock on Bayou. It's just something I didn't know he could do. I thought it was more of a Lockie Wales or Pariah's type, a real runner and a dribbler, and
Running gun.
feet more so than the head. Yeah. So when that went in, I was like, oh, we're on today, and sure enough, we were.
Well, you've just completely trashed the next point that was written here on the run sheet, but we'll go with it. So when the keeper come off, you would have thought that would be putting Raw to the sword by about half time, but obviously it was a draw. Wallace, what were your thoughts going into it at half time?
I was a little bit disappointed when you're like you've got an extra man, their number one keeper's out, and then the Kia version of him's on. You're expecting, especially from the lineup, we had Prijovic there, we had Wales, although we weren't top shelf. We're in that mid shelf. We had a good shelf going. If it was a bourbon, you're like, yeah, it's probably in the $80 a bottle kind of price range. And I was a bit disappointed by that. I thought we should have dug this could have been our opportunity to really increase that goal difference. So I was a bit concerned, but I also had a different perspective. I wasn't at a party like Jay was.
Well, but also, I remember you messaging me saying that this game was a bit of a hard watch because I obviously didn't watch it live.
No.
I remember you saying that this game was a bit of a punish to watch.
Yeah.
We we got the 3 points. So look, if you look at Brisbane, let's jump forward to the future, not Western United, but Brisbane beat Newcastle handedly over the weekend, 2-0. Great result from them, considering Newcastle have been very good, or not very good, but better than Raw this season, you'd think. Take that. And then also look at the Perth versus Macarthur game. Now, Perth were up, then they drew, and then Macarthur lost a man at 2-2. Macarthur, a man down, went on to win that game 4-2. So just because you've got a man down doesn't mean you can't win a game. And I've seen it more so in the A-League than any other league on the planet. I've seen teams go a man down, then go on to win games. So we could have easily pressed. They could have held back, decided, we're just going to hit them on the counter, come back and won this game 2-1, But we pushed. We got a couple of goals. We ended up winning. I'll take it. 3 points are 3 points for me at this stage of the season. More goals, a goal difference booster would be nice, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think points is what's going to get us spots on the table at this stage of the season. So I'll take the 3 points.
Yeah, well, speaking of the other goals, so Neville scored an own goal in the 59th.
Sideways.
59th minute.
My phone's on.
No, we can hear you now.
Am I back? Yeah,
Anyway.
sorry. I don't know what's going on there. Hang on, I'm going to have to fix up. All right, that's all fixed. Raw's Neville scored an own goal in the 59th minute into the game, giving Wood a lead. In reality, was this the decider for the game?
I didn't see us losing after that went in. So, yeah, I guess it was.
It was like, it's a bit sad that the deciding goal for the game came from an own goal. That's kind of a bit, and again, pressure, all that jazz. I'm sorry to be the negative one in this episode. I feel like I'm bringing a lot of negative vibes today. But yeah, I was hoping for a little bit more today. But again, we got the 3 points. But it was really controversial in the end of the game, which I think Kelsey's going to get into.
Yeah, So then obviously going on from that, Priyo scores a beauty in the 83rd minute. But then this was hard fought with Jay O'Shea's keeping them in the game with a penalty in the 88th minute. And then I believe there was a call for another penalty at the very end of the game.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, we got through by the skin of our teeth. They already had a penalty on a bit of a light penalty, in my opinion. And to be honest, like, that was down to the wire. They pretty much held up play till the whistle went, deciding whether or not that was a penalty. Honestly, I think a lot of the issues with this game stem from the referee having lost control and dishing out a red card very early. It was a necessary red card, but the whole game felt rough and uncontrolled. So I think that's possibly part of my the fact I didn't enjoy it as much as I was hoping to.
No, I do feel like it sort of the quality definitely degraded a little bit after the red card, with the exception of Bayou's header. But that happens sometimes in all at all levels of the game. So I'll reiterate: to come away with the 3 points is all I was caring about on the night. I'm glad we got them.
Yeah, sorry to be a bit of a negative on this one. I felt that we could have, when we were so close to having a good opportunity to progress further. Kelsey, you got anything else?
No, look, there's just going to be games that aren't going to be great. You just take the 3 points, you move on. I think this is the case for this game.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to add anything? Are we good to go to the player of the season, which I'll do the votes now?
I'm all good.
All right. Well, I'll do these, and I'm excited to do these ones. I'm going to do Scott's last. So, apparently, according to this run sheet, I gave Priyo 3, Nayu 2, and NTS 1. That's Nayu, not Bayou. Led gave Listica 3, Wales 2, and NTS 1. Jay agreed with me with Priyo, Nayu, and NTS. And I believe you also agreed with the Priyo, Nayu, and NTS. Now we're going to get to Scott's votes. At 1 vote, we have Bayou. Not Nayu, but Bayou. With 2 votes, he's given it to Prijovic. And in his first votes for this player for the season, Jamie Young at 3 votes.
Wow. I think he's sick.
Yeah, I never saw Jamie Young votes coming ever.
It's only because it's because of the issue that happened that led to that first goal, and we haven't spoke about it yet. Where Jamie Young.
Oh, hang on. Let me just give it to Jay too. So Jay, just so you know, Scott has given his first votes to Jamie Young for the season. 3 votes against Brisbane Roar.
Because of Jamie Young's. Yeah,
yes.
Because of Scott having his Ryan Scott propaganda. Which we all like. We're all pro Ryan Scott. It's well known. Because Jamie Young, we haven't mentioned this. It was actually one of the biggest mistakes, and we've spoken about this, and which is one of my shortcomings. I think Jamie Young has shortcomings with. I always thought he was going to get caught off guard doing kicks.
You mentioned this to me during the victory game. The whole victory game, you're worried about him kicking out. Kicking out.
Like, I genuinely, there's things about about each player. They have this pro, this con. My worry has always been when the ball is at his feet. It's been that way since that, that's a genuine criticism of Jamie Young. And his former team knew that and exploited it. And that's the reason why Scott gave him points, because he's facetious. I respect it. But
I want to say well played by Scott.
I will agree on that because I think he's used to the ball when he's able to pick it up and throw it is great. I think he's a great shot stopper. I think he commands his area pretty well for I'm not going to call him small, but for an undersized keeper. Most keepers are 6 foot plus. You're looking. You want to probably keep it to be between 6'4" and 6'6" to get peak athleticism and height. But he makes his presence known. He takes a lot of grabs in the box. He does everything pretty well, and it is the kicking. It is him with the ball at his feet that I get a bit worried about as well. But
playing out of the back.
Especially when there's pressure there, which this showed. So again, but it happened early in the season when they could work on this. Like Foxy can get up him. You know what I mean? Like it's something we can remedy before finals time.
And did it happen against Western Sydney Wanderers as well, or was another game just recently?
It happened against Sydney. He played the ball.
Sydney, that's the one, yeah.
He played the ball to Skatatas, who had just been subbed on, who lost it. It was a bad ball. It wasn't well controlled by Skatatas, but it was mainly Young's fault.
Yeah, you're right. It was the Sydney one I was thinking of.
When Young's on fire, he's amazing. He's
Victory, for example.
That was why I was kind of upset that we didn't beat Victory. It's just because Young played such a good game, just to get 8 points out of it. He deserved 3 himself. Maybe not the rest of the team, but Young himself deserved 3 points from that sort of performance.
100%. I think we should move on just because we've got another game to review, another preview. You guys good to go?
Yep.
Sick. Now, I'll get back to this because I feel like I did a terrible job at writing them up.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not reading this one as well.
Oh, this is actually the better one. No, I got it. You're good at answering. So on April 2nd, in front of 1,423 people, Western United took on CCM at Mars Stadium. Western United on paper had been replenished with the return of Kilkenny to the midfield, delayed out of Renee Crin due to fitness, which had DP starting, which wasn't too bad. Western United had a slight edge on possession, but it took a breakout performance from Young to keep the points in the game. Also, friend of the pod, Nikolai Topor-Stanley, had a big celebration that day. Do you guys know what that is? That was?
He broke the A-League games record.
All 359.
Did you guys answer? I couldn't hear.
Yeah, I did.
Yes, we did. I mean, we
Cool.
know, obviously. He beat...
Jay, did you want one of these?
I might pinch one if you got a spare.
I got 2.
I didn't make it, so...
I thought you would. Now, he broke the record for most A-League games played, and Andrew Durante was there. They made a big fuss about it, and it was well-deserved because he's had a dynamite season. And again, another signing I would not have expected to have played as much this season and been so consistent.
Before we get into it, because you mentioned Andrew Durante, this was the game I took my nephew Lucas to his first ever A-League game, and he actually got to meet Durante and Diamante in the bistro before the game.
Oh, wow.
So they took their time out to say hello to him. That was nice. So just wanted to give them a bit of a shout out before we get into it.
Oh, that's amazing. That is one aspect to this club I really enjoy and do recommend to new fans is that you can meet players. You can have these really good moments. Yeah. That was how'd Lucas go? Did you have a good time?
He had a great time, especially at the end. I'll mention, we'll wait till we get to that part of the recap.
Okay. Now, the Cum Dog opened scoring in weather fitting the Scotsman. A few minutes later, another own goal keeps Western United in the game as the two teams headed into the break. What were your expectations at halftime?
Weren't we 1-0 down at halftime? I thought we scored just after the break because we were in the bistro trying to wait for our hot chocolates when they scored the own goal.
Let me double check. Again, this was I did this.
The only thing I want to talk about Cum Dog's first goal. I know there was a huge controversial if it was handball or not. Now,
correct, you are correct. It was 46 minutes.
Yeah, I was watching it at home. I had no problems with Cum Dogs. I do like Cum Dog, but I didn't see a handball there.
Well, that's what I was
No.
going to ask, because obviously we only had the benefit of, I haven't watched it on replay, I've only seen the live version. Hard to tell, so I was just curious to know whether it was a goal or not.
No, there's
But
no
half time,
yeah, no problem.
Yeah, we did go in at Thingo. Now I remember. I'd had a couple bevies.
yeah, no. So I was a bit disappointed at half time. Was a bit worried. You know, we had some good chances early, and we just hadn't capitalised on them.
Yeah. And we weren't playing terribly. It was just we felt a bit out of sorts. It wasn't a huge turnout on the day. Like a lot of active was a very quiet kind of day for everybody because it was a very originally the game was supposed to be at 4:00, but they pulled it forward to 2:00, which I don't think was great personally. I think a latter game might have been better for crowds.
It would have
finish
been
up
cold though in Ballarat at that time. It was freezing at 2:00.
Yeah, I wasn't that cold.
It's a lot harder to get down by 2 for a lot of people that live a lot further out. It's an hour drive. You got to be out of the house and gone by midday, 12 at the latest, to be able to comfortably make the game. So, if it was
transport's terrible.
Well, there were no actual trains. It was buses all
I had to
weekend.
drive down, and I was just too tired to drive. I couldn't be bothered driving an hour to Ballarat, and so I was like, you know what, this is the first game I'm going to decide to miss all season. I don't hate going to Ballarat. I'm going next week. I went the week before, but it's just like too many games in Ballarat really will drag down on you.
I think they should be better spaced out.
But going back to my time slot when it's too cold, yeah, it's not too cold for an adult, but most people aren't going to want to bring their kids when it's getting really cold in Ballarat about 4:00.
Mm.
Yeah,
I get you. I understand that. I don't disagree.
Especially,
I just think
daylight savings has sort of ended. The sun's setting a bit earlier. It's just not it just wouldn't have been great at that time on that particular day. The week before it would have been brilliant because it was a warm one.
It's not that big of a difference for me.
If you're an adult though.
Oh no, period. I don't think people are going to make a difference. Too much of a difference between 2 hours. 4:00. It's not going to be that much cooler. It's going to get cool when you start hitting 5, 6, maybe. But
I was there till 9:00 in Ballarat. It wasn't that much colder. I understand what you're saying, Kelsey. I completely get that. Yeah. I just think the latter, even a 3:00 kickoff may have been better because a lot of people would have been playing local sports. You know what I mean? For a 1,500 attendance, I don't think we've done that at all this season.
That's our lot. 2 p.m. I can understand 1 or 2 of them, or one of them, but you got to mix it up a little bit, have the game on a bit later, because we had it at 3 p.m., 2 p.m., and then it's going to be 2 p.m. again next Saturday. It's which I'm glad. So that means I can quickly ditch that after the final whistle and quickly race into the city and watch Richmond get slaughtered. But I'd honestly prefer to watch a later game. That's just my. I do like night games and afternoon games better than day games. It's me personally, but
I do too.
Yeah, especially on a Saturday. I feel like a Sunday 2 p.m. game is better than a Saturday 2 p.m. game.
I'd agree on that
too. It does feel a bit different. Yeah. So not ripping into you, Kel. Well, we are, but
we're just discussing it.
No,
the
thing is, it's not my opinion. My opinion is I prefer a later game. It's just the fact that, thinking outside the box of what other people will be thinking. And that was all. It's a difference of a suggestion.
Just having a conversation. We're allowed to
it wouldn't surprise me if they're also doing it to try and get more people down to the bistro, honestly, because that way they'd be able to move more seamlessly, serve people over lunch, because I know they're trying to get more Western United supporters to come down to the bistro during the game, because obviously they screwed that up horrifically in the first 2 seasons and weren't serving food at the bistro before the game.
They're really trying to rectify that, which is good.
They're trying to repair that relationship, but obviously a lot of the boys are still not salty, but it's now we've got a pre-game ritual down pat where we don't go to the bistro for food. So now we've got to break that pre-game ritual that we've established over the last 2 years, where we go everywhere else for food and start going to the bistro because it's, people are creatures of habit. So it's not something that's going to be fixed overnight, but it's something that can be fixed.
Especially with Moorehead in the equation. But let's move on because we've got another game to talk about. We still got stuff to talk about this. Western came back with some fire in their bellies after the break, which resulted in that initial goal, which was a banger. Kelsey, you were at the concession stand. How was the concession stand line?
Well, see, I would have been out for the goal if someone didn't steal my goddamn hot chocolates. I hope him and his kids choked on those hot chocolates. So
you're saying that a lot nicer than you did on Saturday, man. Kelsey come back nicer. Furious. It was 10 out of 10. But, we'll keep moving. But that was a really nice goal. And then we kind of got ourselves in front, which was really good. And post that, Prio scored an effortless header. And he is like a majestic eagle in flight at times, don't you think?
Good ball by Wales.
Yes. Which I think he's becoming that playmaker role. He's done a lot more assists this season. Hasn't got a goal, but he has been crucial.
0 goals, 5 assists, which is we need a player that can give. Look, I wouldn't mind 1 or 2 out of him, but I'll take some assists at this point.
That's 5 goals we wouldn't have had otherwise. So I think it's pretty.
Exactly.
And we've had a lot of 1-0, so just put it.
Yeah,
but unfortunately,
Do you want another stat on Lockie Wales there? 32 shot assists that didn't result in a goal.
Yeah. Any other, even if a quarter of those go in, it's doubled his bloody assist tally for the season. So
yeah. So just a little bit of context there. Sorry, just scrolling down. The next ball straight after that, we're all celebrating. And the cum dog, the next ball gets it in. Always I don't even think our goal celebration was finished.
No, it wouldn't be because mine wasn't. I was watching at home. And I felt for the first time this season, the second time this season, I felt dejected after conceding. It was that one, and it was the one where we conceded twice in 2 minutes against Victory. As soon as Cumdog scored, when we scored, I thought, we're away here. We can win this 3-1. And then Cumdog scored a brace a minute later, and it's back to square one after all our effort. We're not winning this. It's just that game got flipped back immediately because we turned off again. It's happened again. Couldn't believe it.
Do you want to hear an interesting game day thing from that, Jay?
I would.
So when the own goal went in, the scoreboard said for a good 35 seconds to a minute that it was CCM 2, West United 0.
It did.
Yeah, respect that. They tried. They really tried, those CCM hackers. But
when we scored our second, it took them ages to put our second goal on as well. The CCM's second goal was up before our second goal was up.
Yeah, that guy had a big day. He was over in the box. He must have had a beer in one hand, so he couldn't do the West United button. That must have been his beer drinking hand. Another fun one was from the Victory game. They actually had the Melbourne City graphic up when they walked out. I'm pretty sure. Something along I can't remember. It was something silly happened. But yeah, gotta love silly stuff happens game day. Makes it interesting. So
it's what makes the A-League the best league in the world as well.
The shithousery. Oh, it's amazing. It's so I love it. But so in the dying minutes, and this is again attests to the caliber of Jamie Young. He must have signed a deal with the devil because I know he likes his blast beats and metal. He must have signed a deal with the devil to prevent Cummings' hat trick, and he managed to sneak us the point home by deflecting a penalty. What a big moment, and we only got the point this day. My honest opinion, this wasn't a bad game. I think we played decently considering the lineup we had on the day. What do you guys have? Any final thoughts?
So obviously we were there. We had the perfect view for the Jamie Young penalty, the save. Obviously, I was talking about when nephew. I said to get back to it at this point. That was his favourite moment of the entire game, and I think it's what's hooked him into wanting to go for life now. that was the moment where it like just sparked about how great the game is. Even though the game ended in a draw, that one save, that one moment that stopped, what could have been an agonising defeat to, hey, we've got a point out of this, we got something, just really hooked him. It was a really good save.
Yeah, I'm disappointed I missed my first ever live Western United penalty save, because there's honestly a penalty save for me is like better than a goal. I get around them an unreal, like an unhealthy amount. So I was so happy to see Young save it.
Yeah. When we got back, I asked him what was his favourite moment. Was it one of the goals or was it? And straight away he's like, no, it's the save. It's the save. That was the entire thing.
Yeah, no, that's definitely Jamie Young's had such a big season for us, and I don't think we'd be where we'd be without him. He's had his goofs, just like the A-League, but brings joy to our hearts. Anything else on that, lads, before I get to the player of the year?
All good, mate.
Nah.
Okay, I'm going to read out the points. Kelsey, you gave 3 to Wales, 2 to Young, 1 to Prio. Leb did 3 to Wales, 2 to Young, 1 to Garuccio. Jay did 3 to Wales, 2 to Prio, 1 to Young. Scott did 3 to Wales, 2 to Garuccio. And in a shocking trend, Scott gave another point to Jamie Young.
And he was the first to vote too.
Yes, Scott was the first to vote, which again has happened 3 times in close to in 90-something episodes.
His first words were, Jamie Young saved us, literally.
Yeah, so that's big words from...
Point. So, I mean, look, I will give Young credit. It was a good save, but it was a shit penalty. It was just right to the middle of goal, perfect height to be saved. Not a great penalty.
You still have to not overcommit.
Yeah, he still had to save it, and it was still hit with power, but it was not a good penalty from Gumdog. He really should have buried that. I think his first hat-trick sort of got to him a little bit. He came away with it with a brace, but he should have had a hat-trick. And I said, all credit to Young. You still got to save the penalty, but I think it was just, Gumdog should have done a lot better there.
So, yeah.
No, he shouldn't. He did exactly what he was meant to do. Screw the penalty up so we can get a point and move on.
I'll take that
exactly.
as well.
My points were 3 to Wales, 2 to Young, 1 to Prio. Do you want to know the Player of the Year competition's current results, guys?
Get it up there.
Now, Jay, who do you think is currently winning?
Ryan Scott.
Sorry?
Ryan Scott.
Close.
I'll give another crack. Diamante.
Negative. So currently tied for first place. I'll give you one name, Jay. You got to tell me the other. Leo Lacroix.
Tied for first. Leo.
Yeah. And?
Jamie Young. I can't call it.
Yes, tied on 72
Correct.
points. And the only reason they're tied for that is because Scott gave him votes.
No, the only reason they're tied is because Scott didn't give him votes.
Votes,
Jamie should be in front.
Jamie would be in front by about the length of Flemington straight at the minute if he was getting proper votes.
You could stack the amount of votes Scott should have given him in Leo Lacroix's. That's you just that's a lot. But
if put it this way, if Young doesn't win it, we should still award him with like a Scotty's ball and chain trophy or something like that, like the Stone of Triumph that Homer's got to carry behind him when he gets kicked out the Stonecutters or let back into the Stonecutters, because he has done it with a stone attached to his ankle. He's still tied first.
Yeah.
Voting comp. So I respect that from Young.
Talk about an underdog. Coming third is Lustica. Fourth is Prijovic. Fifth is Risdon. Sixth is Garuccio. Seventh is Nikolai Topor-Stanley. Eighth is Cotter Payne. 9 is Lockie Wales. Then we have Kilkenny. And evening out the top 10 is Tomoki Amai. Actually, he's 11th. Sorry, apologies, guys. Carry on. I read it out of order. But he's technically 11th because it's tied. But whatever. Easy done. A lot of fun. Do you guys know what's next?
Yeah, the
game preview.
Game preview.
Sorry, the page is not loading properly for me. Game preview.
You're right.
Yeah, so on Saturday, April 9th, we take on Wellington Phoenix at Moorshead Park in Ballarat at 2:05. This is the first time we get to play on a rectangular boutique stadium. This is the first time this ground has been used for the A-League. So this is our first home game that no one else has played an A-League game on. It's technically ours in a rectangle. What do you guys think?
I think I'm keen to beat Welly for the second time.
We've had a draw as well.
Yeah, but I'd like to see a win against them.
We need
In
points.
Australia. It'd be nice to win in Australia against them.
That would be really nice.
And it'd be nice because technically the only people that have seen, there's been like 8 Western United fans that have seen Western United beat Wellington live, and I'm one of them. So, it's not something I've wanted to give up, but I think I'll give it up this week.
Okay. You're so kind. Thank you.
You're welcome, fellas.
What would you like to see out of the lineup this week? Kelsey?
Well, we're not getting any injured players back. I'm guessing Crin comes back in if he's fit. What I want to see versus what? Huh?
Sorry.
No, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, quick statement from me. We got no midweek game as well, worth mentioning. So go nuts with our lineup. I'll say I'm not going to tell you our best 11. You guys can, Kelsey, you'll probably go with your best 11. But I think whatever Aloisi thinks is best, put out. Don't hold any punches.
I was going to say, Aloisi will stick with what he knows. I think Crin comes back in just because he was a late out due to was it injury in the warm-up?
He just said it wasn't cleared to play due to fitness.
Yeah, that tells me it was probably he just wasn't there was just something a little bit wrong, so he just played it safe. I think he comes back in, but I think Aloisi sticks with what he likes and what he knows. And no offense, he's getting the job done this season. I can't argue with what he puts out there.
No.
I think we do go very strong as possible. It's not like a midweek team or a game that we'll play like when we played against Brisbane after beating Victory. We put, start off Bayou. We won't be doing any of that. No offense to Bayou, but we'll be putting forward our best 11 for sure. The best 11 we have available. Hopefully Diamante, but don't see it happening.
No. Not against freaking Wellington at Moorshead.
Oh, who knows? He's a special guy. He might want to play in a special game.
He does like that, doesn't he? Score predictions. Jay.
6-0 Western United. I reckon Wellington get battered everywhere they go. They're going to get done 6-0 2 weeks. Actually, that's cruel. 5-0. 5-0 Western United. And I'm serious. I think we batter them. I always sit on the fence. No, we batter them this week. 5-0. Prijovic scores at least 2.
I've really been torn on this one because it seems like for Wellington, this is the game they get up for. They love playing us. They could be shit, but the second they're playing us, all of a sudden they lift. I've been tossing between, do I say the draw or do I just go 3-1? I'll stick with the 3-1 and hope we get the W.
3-2, goal bonanza, edge of your seat ride. It's going to be amazing. Lock it in, Kelsey.
No.
We're going to get the win.
I disagree with you two boys. We got this game wrapped up by halftime. Guarantee it. That's Jay's lock of the week.
Love it. Now, let's move on to the tipping comp because there's a bit of movement there. Mainly just for Nick, who was at the game on the weekend and did post on social. So thank you very much. So currently winning. Oh, wait, that's not the ladder. So currently winning, we have Methodical Flamethrower. Shout out, rad name. I feel like that's a Black Dahlia Murder song or something.
Still don't know who it is.
Yeah, shout out. Big fan. Doing really well. Who's winning on 56 points. Nick, the Sherlock machine, is coming up second, and he wants this trophy. He wants the trophy Andrew Tran had. He wants it.
I believe he specifically wants a new trophy.
Nah. We're about recycling here.
But I believe we're giving him a free blue light with it.
Yeah. He's tied on second with Woodster 99. Andrew Tran has dropped to fourth on 51 points. Jeff FSS is fifth on 50 points. I'm sixth on 48. Lebby is seventh. Harris Maynard, shout out, is coming eighth. The Joker, baby, coming 15th. For someone who hasn't logged in a while, you're doing well, buddy. Kelsey, you good attendance. Shout out Cornerfied Games.
Attendance would assume I've logged in.
Yeah, I was being nice. Look at Scott's coming 24th. But yeah, jump in. We've got a prize and a trophy, which is quite coveted.
But the prize is better. Well, yeah, after what Andrew's done, the prize is definitely better this year. So you want to jump in. You'll be disappointed if you don't win this year.
And Nick can't win the prize.
Anyway, but so I don't give a shit. I'm only trying.
I probably would give the prize to Nick, but
for me, this season we'll have an asterisk next to it. It's a COVID-affected season, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to come back. I'm going to take it next season. I'm going to win it by 20 points. I'm going to get every game right.
I'm just saying, I haven't had a tip wrong all year.
Fucking Kelsey. Now let's just move on.
I haven't had one right either, but I haven't gotten one wrong.
Thank you for tuning into All Out West this week. I'm a new host, Wallhausen. There's Kelhausen and the old Magic Man. Don't forget to check us out on social media. Like, subscribe, review, share, send us a message. If you're Ballarat, make sure to check up with the active support. Get in, make some noise, have some fun, drink some beers, or don't. Up to you. I don't judge. Have a nice lemonade. There's like real bougie lemonades nowadays.
Yeah, I'm not about all that. Just give me some Schweppes. I'm all good.
Yeah, it's just saying that like they got real good lemonades and stuff now. Which, Kelsey, I know you like lemonade.
I do.
Yeah. But yeah, we're a bit All Out West. Get in there, support the boys. Shout out Nikolai Topor-Stanley. Don't forget to check out the Dylan Wenzel Halls interview. That was pretty slept on. That was a really good conversation. I hope to see more of him this season and hopefully next. Yeah, all West, aren't we?
All West, aren't we?
All West, aren't we?